All right, thank you for another episode of the 4RealPodcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Willis, a.k.a. Mr. Willis Close It. I do have Miss Sheridan McCorkle.
Hey.
I do also have our guest today, Mr. Deric from Homestead Inspections. Once again, thank you guys for all the support. Like, sharing, subscribing. You can find us everywhere from Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube. Anywhere you think you can find us, Instagram.
Any of your listening services.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere. So once again, thank you guys. We definitely does not go unnoticed with the support. We do this to be able to not only educate but also teach. You know, not only just the home buying experience, but different other aspects of the home buying. So that way, you guys are very informed.
Shout out to the realtors that support us too, because like
they do.
I didn't think realtors would really watch, but
they support us.
Yeah,
actually, what's crazy is when we were talking to our social media manager when we had our meeting, and she was like, a lot of the people that watch are actually realtors. Mm-hmm. And they actually send it to their clients and like, hey, this is what this stuff means. And so that's definitely, like I said, it's not unnoticed. And we thank you, like I said, I know we got a couple people missing, schedules conflicted and they couldn't make it today. But, you know, once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Sheridan, wanted to just catch up. I know we don't record as often, you know, especially we're in the knee deep of the busy season, as I call it.
Right.
The home buying season, spring, summer is when it's usually 100 miles an hour. But what you got going on?
You know what? For me lately, it's I'm in a weird season, but I'm grateful for it. I'm very slow, but my bills are paid. Number one. But number two, I'm slow because I'm building my team. I'm pouring into them, and it's so crazy. At the beginning of the year, I was like, well, what if no one wants to join me? What if no one wants to join me? And now I'm to the point where I'm having to turn people away because I want to be sure that I have the capacity to give them what they need. I promise my agents, I'm going to teach you how to become six-figure earners. And so now I'm at, it's like, I can't even remember. It's like 7 or 8 of us all together. Nice. And like now I'm like at the point where.
That's in a couple months, ain't it? Like you're growing really, really fast.
Yeah. And I felt so bad. It was another young lady. It's like you want to bring everybody, but I finally had to tell one young lady, like, right now, I can't bring you on. I would love to, because all of my agents are dang near brand new. Like, one young lady, her license is probably still drying right now. So I'm like, you know, that's not to say that if you don't have experience, I won't bring you on. If you have experience, at least 3 to 5 sales up under your belt, I will, you know, consider bringing you on. But I can't bring no new agents right now, not in this season. And hopefully, you know, at the beginning of the year of 2024, once everybody's producing and all of that, I can bring on more people. Nice. So that's just been a lot of fun because you get to learn, like, how much you know. Mm-hmm. And then it's like things you forget. Like, I had an agent, he had an open house, and he's like, I don't have the access. And I'm like, just set it up. But you don't think, like...
It's those common things, like, for us, because we so seasoned, and we just kind of do it. It's like second nature.
Yeah, and sometimes you forget what it's like to be the new guy.
Absolutely,
and the things that, like you said, are second nature, the things that are your go-tos, for them is brand new.
Yeah.
So
I was talking to a newer agent, and I was kind of helping her because she's transitioning over to my company. And, like, she was just... For me, like, negotiating a contract is, like, back of my hand. Like, I don't think about it. I just do it.
Right.
And then so she was like, well, what do I do here? I'm like, did you ask how many offers that they had? No, I'm supposed to? I'm like, yeah, like.
That's so powerful, like, and you don't know that when you start.
Right. Yeah, like, it's like the things like I learned over the years. It's just like I said, for somebody else who's brand new, they don't like even think that way. And then also too, it's like, I don't want to have to think for you as well. Yeah. I'm like, because get creative. Mm-hmm. The only things that you're going to get told no, in real estate especially, is things you don't ask for.
Yeah.
Like, I tell every buyer, I'm like, there's nothing that's not negotiable in real estate. Like, you can ask for whatever. Now, they can say no, but you ask for it.
I'd rather be that agent that tried it.
Yeah.
You know, as long as it makes sense.
Right, and I think sometimes when you have a new person in any avenue, they can bring that fresh set of eyes. Yeah. So, like, things, you know, it's like, I never thought of it from that angle, and since you're new, that's a different perspective. And maybe we got to tweak it a little bit to make it apply.
Absolutely.
But that's a new thought for us. Let's work on that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I said, it was kind of like I kind of had to sit back, like, you really asked me that? like that you didn't just think that.
I had a friend of mine. She had been licensed 2 years, and she asked me where the closing costs go when you ask for them. I'm like,
on the contract?
She has only been licensed since 2020 or 2019. So think about it.
Is this her first deal?
No, but think about it. Like, a lot of times newer agents have never even tried to ask for closing costs.
And see, that's mandatory.
even know where
That's
it went.
mandatory with me. I don't care how many offers you got. I'm gonna ask for some closing costs.
I could understand why somebody didn't know where to put it though.
That's true. I mean, like, and especially if they're not like doing a lot of offers. Like, yes, you've been licensed, but you ain't really did no business. That's like, true. It makes sense. Yeah. Like when you put it that way, because for me, I'm like, oh, this goes here, boo, right. boo, boo, boo. And then, like I said, now I'm fortunate to have my admin and my assistant as my mom, and I've trained her, and she's a licensed real estate agent. So she writes all my contracts.
Shout out to Mom.
Hey, shout out to Mom Dukes. I'll be calling you. I got some work for you.
I got some work for my mom. What you been having going on?
So it's like I said, we knee deep in the busy season. In the next 3-4 weeks, I think I have 7 or 8 contracts closing, negotiating another couple of contracts. Some picked up a bunch of buyers that are getting approved right now. Actually getting ready to start my broker's license courses because I am going to be officially starting my team.
Okay.
So I've been having discussions with my brokers now, being able to get all the infrastructure set up, and I'm probably not going to launch it till probably late this year because I want to go through more of the training and getting everybody kind of slowly ramped up because as like you said, 2024, I want to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
I don't want to start a team in the busy season and then I can't help you because I got all these things that's pulling me in different directions. And so for me, I don't want to let anybody feel like I didn't do enough.
Right.
And that's my biggest thing too, is I don't want to half-ass it. And I'm never going to do that with my business or anything that I tell someone that I'm going to do. And then I kind of like am half-assing it or letting stuff fall to the wayside. So right now, just building out the infrastructure. I'm hiring some more admins behind the scenes to be able to kind of take care of the other aspects. Like realtors, I can help them, but behind the scenes, paperwork, infrastructure, I need to get all that set up because I'm not the most organized person. Yeah, I'm not the most organized person. You know, that's why I hire people to do that. I'm like, I know how to go get the money, but I want you to make sure all the other stuff is taken care of. Like with the podcast, you know, I can learn to edit a video. I can learn to market this and do that. I don't want to.
Yeah, maximize your time.
Yeah, I'm like, to me, I'm like, let me create content, put it out there, let somebody else, you know, do their job, and I'll pay you to do that. So that's kind of go. So we're going to also, like I said, jump into our word of the day.
All right.
Which is, Miss Sheridan has it for you.
Hopefully you can still hear me. Mess with the mic. Okay. I'm sure you can. My voice is. Okay, so material defect. A material defect is any item or concept that can alter a seller or buyer's decision in a transaction. These defects can change the direction of a transaction and significantly impact the value of the property. All known defects are to be disclosed by any party within the transaction, given the knowledge of the defect. So, that word of the day segues us into talking to our guest, Deric.
Yes, ma'am.
So Deric I've worked with Homestead since 2015, and I've known Deric since 2020. We were doing an inspection, and there was a corn dog in the yard, and that's when our friendship started.
Hold on, what?
It was so random.
That was the most random.
It was super random. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And ever since then, because it was my first time working with him on an inspection, I was thinking to myself, oh, God, I hope that this dude know what he's doing. Because it was my first time meeting him. Right. And then he was like, I think you pointed out, did you see that corn dog in the yard?
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
That is the most random thing to find in the yard. Now, I done found a lot of stuff in the yard.
We come across some weird stuff.
Corn dog? No, I've never seen that. I'll put that out there.
It was like the beginning of 2020, like March.
Yeah. COVID.
Yeah. That's when I met him.
COVID corn dog.
Yeah,
COVID.
There it is.
Okay, so Deric. All right, so Deric, we talked about ourselves. You can get as detailed as you want, whatever. Tell us about you, who you are.
Oh, goodness. So like I said, my name's Deric with Homestead Inspection Company. We have been, I guess I'll just give a little background about the company first and kind of get into what I do for the company. So we've been around since 1992, so a little over 30 years. So we've been around for quite a while. We've seen the ups and downs, the way the market, we were there for the crash, so we made it through all that.
You've been through a couple different market shifts.
We have been through a couple different market shifts, right? And the way we do things and the way we market and the way we can provide inspections have had to change a little bit. I mean, it's all the same general thing. We're still looking for those defects, but sometimes they had to be quicker inspections. Sometimes they have to be, just walkthroughs where people are just getting notes from things or taking their own notes because it's going to be as-is inspection.
Like a mechanical inspection?
Mm-hmm, yep. Yeah, so we've kind of had to flex a little bit with the industry, which has been a challenge, but, we're staying busy right now and have been pretty much the whole COVID and all that. My job, I'm a co-owner of Homestead, and then my primary, as being an inspector, my secondary job is to do marketing. So go out and do presentations or meet and greets or lunch and learns and stuff. Our company really prides itself in teaching agents, kind of like you're saying, people watch the podcast and they're wanting to learn, or they might use that information to say, here's one of my clients, here's a client, listen to this, they're explaining something to you. We do the same thing. So like, we want to come to an office or come to your team, like I came to Sheridan's team, and we talked about just what the inspection process looks like. Because if you've got a bunch of new agents, they may have never done an inspection.
True.
They don't know what to expect. They don't know how to prepare their clients, which is a big deal because if the client comes to the house and it's the house of their dreams, it's got the right number of bedrooms, it's in the right school district, it obviously hits your price point. And then here I come in and I tell them bad stuff about that house. It's heartbreaking. So you just see their face drop.
You see their face drop.
If they haven't been prepared or they don't know they expect it, it's been remodeled. So it's got to be perfect.
Mm-hmm. No
such thing.
But tell us about you. Who are you, Deric?
Oh, I don't know. I'm father of three. I've got 3 kids. I got a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old boys, and then I got a 3-year-old daughter.
Oh.
So doing the dad life.
Deric needs to do more home inspections.
Yeah, a lot more home inspections.
He got a little girl that's in his pocket right now.
Oh, my goodness, is she ever. And she wants to start dance, so that's always expensive. So, but it's, so we have a good time. I'm a huge outdoorsman. I love going outdoors, rock climbing and kayaking, all the stuff's outdoors. So
that ain't me.
Not for you.
Not my stealer.
I'm laughing because whenever I have to go into like a rural area, I'm like, Deric.
Yeah.
Listen, I need this man right here single-handedly taught me about septic tanks.
I was gonna say I don't know how many phone calls we had about septic. Yeah.
Now I'm an expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also we both our dads are auto mechanics, so
Yep.
Yeah, right there.
Sheridan will call me when she's got some stuff going on at the house, or she's got questions about whatever. And and again, that's what we want to be there for. We want to be a part of the team, so we want to be that person you can reach out to and make the phone call, and whether it's for a listing or a personal house or your buyer or something.
And I want to say real quick, you had mentioned, because it was funny when you said that when the client is home of their dreams and you have to be the bad guy and give them this is what's wrong, and you just see the color drain out of their face, like, really? And it's like, that's one of the things, like I was saying, an experienced agent, like I said, they feed off of our emotion.
Yep.
That's true.
And I always tell my clients, if I'm not freaking out, you don't freak out. Now, if I'm like, hey, sis, like, I got to tell you, like, but I also tell my home inspectors, because we work together so closely, tell me the bad news. Let me give it to them in that regard. So because it sounds so much different coming from someone who they're not emotionally invested in versus someone that they trust. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, this is what this is. This is not a big deal. I also prepare them because when it can get very intimidating. Oh, yeah. Especially when they get a home inspection report back and it's 80, 90 pages. And they're just like, so this house is about to fall apart? Yeah. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. We're not close to that point. We're not there.
For the record, we keep ours short and sweet. We're probably around 40 pages. Like that's what we're maxing out at. But it's true because it is. I mean, the whole process is emotional. And I joke that I don't have any friends because all I do is tell people bad news about their house.
He can't come inside. Don't come inside my house.
We've perfected the art of the presentation because it's so important when you're relaying this information that they understand it clearly, but then they're also not freaking out because there's nothing that can't be fixed with money. It's just what are you comfortable with? Yeah. Is this something that's within the scope of what you want to take on? If it's as is.
Whoa. Before we get too far.
Go ahead.
Because, like, we never know the levels of people watching, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So, first of all, because we kind of talking like someone knows.
Yeah, we're going back.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. We just start talking. We start just talking.
Yeah. So, what is an inspection?
Sure.
What types of services or things can be involved in an inspection? And how do you determine which ones are necessary? So, you could take that slowly.
Absolutely. So your home inspection, what we call a whole house inspection, is your bread and butter for every transaction. You should get a home inspection on every transaction. New
Always do a home inspection.
Absolutely. And condos, townhouses, and then your regular
new construction,
everything. And that is, exterior. We go with the exterior wall coverings, the roof, much of the foundations we can see. Inside, we're going over water, gas, electric, all of their components, and then any structural components we can see. So it is a visual inspection. So if we can't see what's behind this wall, we can't comment on that specifically. So we have to.
And what that means for y'all, because I know Sheridan has had this. No, they're not breaking down walls to see what's behind the drywall. They're not going to damage the property because they were like, well, how did they not see this? Well, it was drywall. They can't just rip out drywall.
Right. You don't own the home.
Like, now, if you want to rip it out when you get there and you buy it, hey, that's a different story. Yeah. But it's only, and they can't obviously move people's stuff around because it's just, a legality issue. If something gets broke or damaged, and now they're liable for those things. So they can't move people's stuff out the way. They can only do what their eyes can see that's visible. In that regards here. So I want to kind of clear that up there. Because a lot of people
I think that's really
setting
important.
Expectations. For sure.
Absolutely. And like I said, I've had a past client who was like, well, I found this there was a hidden wall back here behind this thing. I was like, well, how were they supposed to know that? Right. You had to move a fridge out the way to be able to find it. Like, they're not moving those things.
Right. And the sad thing, because of the space that we're in, we see different things from different sides, is a buyer, we do the inspection, the buyer buys the house, something breaks 3 months in or whatever, and they call a service tech to come out and fix it. First thing they say is, your home inspector should have seen that. Well, first off, they don't know what our job is most times. And if they're tearing out a shower and there's a leak behind the shower, I mean, we've literally had someone, a plumber, say, your home inspector should have called this out. It's behind the shower. Like, who's
tearing down finish to check for
and that scares the new buyer, that new homeowner.
They didn't know what they were doing. I paid for somebody who didn't know what they were.
And I think we've had this before, I'm sure you have as well. There are things that you cannot catch. And let's even say your home inspection lasts 6 hours. There's things that you will not catch that you are not going to notice until you live in that house 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, we're given, so for our company, we do 3-hour time slots. So we have 3 hours the max to look at the house and give you our evaluation. And like you said, normally there's personal belongings or there's finished material. Maybe it rained. Maybe it didn't rain. Is this crack going to leak? I don't know. I don't see any moisture stains on it now, but if it's dry and it's 100 degrees outside for the last month, I can't tell you if that crack leaks or not, So there's limitations to all that stuff. And when you start living in it 24/7, like you said, you're seeing things, you're opening and closing doors and drawers and sticking your head in places that we just didn't have access to. So it's a limited home inspection. There's that limited visibility, limited access to certain things. So again, just setting those expectations ahead of time is a big deal.
So walk us through the inspection process, kind of from start to finish, as best you can break it down.
Well, let's go back a little bit to what services, and we can kind of go from there. Okay. So whole house, like I said, bread and butter. Termite or wood-destroying insects is really what it is, because it's not just termites, but it's carpenter bees and carpenter ants, caterpillar beetles, stuff like that. So you have that as a second or another service that's offered. Radon testing, which radon is a radioactive gas that comes up out of the ground, has been known to lead to lung cancer, so that's something we test for or can test for. And then sewer scopes or sewer cameras, we can do those as well. There's other services, like we can do mold, we could do water testing. They're not as common.
What about chimney?
Chimney, we can do. We don't do them ourselves, but we have a company that we contract with.
Out. But that is a service your company can be able to
absolutely.
Look for. Okay.
Yep. And then, so that depends on what your house looks like. Like, obviously, if you don't have a chimney, you don't need that.
Yeah.
If you have got a slab construction, you're less likely to have high radon. Radon's everywhere. So we want to educate. So for our company, we're never going to push a product on you. We'll give you the information, let you make the choice yourself. But we're never going to twist an arm or anything.
I need to do radon testing because I've slabbed, but my neighborhood tests like anywhere from 19 to 24, but I'm scared to know the result.
In radon?
If you ever...
So, what's so crazy is that I have a client that I'm getting ready to close on, and theirs is in the Ruskin area, in that regards here. And so they have on a crawl space that they're in. And I didn't realize the difference in pricing for radon when it's on a crawl space versus a finished basement, because like a finished basement, typically your radon machine can run 6.
Do you mean to install it?
Yeah, installation.
Okay.
So just to back up to give you a little bit, radon, like you said, is gases that are naturally come up from the earth. The EPA standard is anything over a 4.0 if it tests for it.
Picoularies.
Yeah. If it peaks at least consistently at 4.0, they recommend installing the radon mitigation system to be able to get those gases out. Yep. So my clients, they have where it tested over a 4. And so I'm thinking in my mind, okay, it's like a $600-700 fix is typically what radon mitigation systems cost when you have a finished basement. I didn't know a crawl space, they charge, well, luckily the seller, because we gave him a competitive offer, he was like, if I wasn't, he's like, I'll probably break even on what the list price is after installing it, but it was $4,200 for a crawl space.
Dang.
You think about it. So when you're in
because you have to pay somebody to be able to get up under there, and
they've got to seal that all the ground off underneath, because like on your concrete or even a slab construction, your foundation, the floor is sealed with the concrete. So if you have a sump pump,
is it even common to have radon with a crawl space though?
Yeah,
it's less likely.
Okay,
but it is possible.
Okay,
I have found it once on a crawl space, and I have found it once on a slab home, twice on slab homes.
This is my first time finding it on a crawl space.
But
like I said, on the finish. Yeah, I mean, like I said, just because I just didn't know I just thought radon, because I've had hundreds of radon systems installed for clients in that regards here, from investors to, because we're on the listening side, a lot of times. So I'm like, not a problem, $600-700.
Yeah,
that's not a big deal.
Heck, I thought $1,200 was high.
Yeah.
He told me $4,200. I said,
they got to seal.
Because at first, because I do a lot of things for my client. And I'm like, hey, as a closing gift, I'll give you a gift card to be able to go towards this product. In my mind, I was like, hey, I'll probably give him a gift card to go towards the radon in that regards here. Until he told me $4,200. I said, guess who ain't getting a gift card to this? I'm like, hey, no.
See, and that's hard too with it being a crawl space, because it's not like a basement where it's like, okay, is someone gonna be living down here? So that's just interesting to me that it was even high.
Yeah.
And that's just proof that it is a natural gas.
And honestly, I was like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, it's a crawl space or a slab, but we don't really need it. But
Right. And like I said, we always let the client and the customer make up their own mind.
Right.
But we also, put it in the perspective. So for a radon test for us is $120 if you're getting it with a package with a home inspection. So you could, if you have a crawl space, so you could spend $120. If it's high, then ask the seller to mitigate for it.
Yeah.
And save yourself $4,200.
Right.
Or you can not do it, and then when you go to sell the house, if it's high, now you could potentially be stuck with it.
Yeah.
So for $120, it's usually a pretty good investment. Again, we don't push it, but if they've got the money or the funds, then it's like, that makes sense.
And to be clear, most radon mitigation systems do not cost $4,200.
No. Like I said, those are just one-offs, because like I said, I never heard it. But that's also going back to why you'll hear Sheridan and I always harp on finding an experienced agent that's always knowing what's best for you. And because for us, that's usually standard. When I do home inspections, I'm going to tell you to get a radon. I'm telling you to get a termite inspection. Most times if I'm waiving inspections, the only time I waive inspections is with investors, because they're tearing it out anyway and redoing it. So they don't really care, because they typically are contractors. They know what's wrong. They're okay. But if you're buying a house, don't ever wait. And there was a time during COVID, when houses were going like hotcakes, and you got to figure out how do I make my offer stand out? Well, let's waive inspections. I'm like, let's not.
Yeah. Right.
That's like buying
it's
a car without
test driving. It's definitely ways to get around waiving inspections if you know what you're doing. Non-refundable earnest money. Honestly, the way I would do it would be 2 earnest monies. We're going to put this much down, and then on day 11, we're going to put some more. See, I was funny about it. We put a second earnest money down, but it was day 11.
And see,
I've never done it. After the inspection period.
I've never done it. I ain't putting no 2 earnest money down. Like,
well, I mean, let's say we did option 1.
Yeah, I mean that makes total sense,
right?
In that regards here. But yeah, typically, if y'all didn't catch that joke, when you do a home inspection, typically you have a 10-day inspection period that you can cancel the inspection and get out of it, and typically get your earnest money back. Now, obviously, the second one I make non-refundable, but the first one is definitely refundable because if we out of here in 10 days, no matter what we putting down on day 11,
on day 11,
we out of here. Y'all on your own.
Nobody was picking up on that, so I wasn't worried about it.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, it's when you're experienced, you know little tricks that can help your clients be able to stand out.
Right.
And, you know, I call them pandemic agents. You know, there's going to be a lot of, you know, people that ruffle feathers, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But, you know, it's just people that, you know, really during the pandemic, because it was so easy to help sell a house, buy a house, you know, or not buy a house, but sell a house. You didn't have to do any marketing. During
the pandemic, we need to quit saying the pandemic, because honestly, it had been like that in 19 too.
It was
before it hit the fan. Like it was already like that.
It was on steroids during COVID.
It was on steroids because of the rate, but it was already.
I mean, it was trending towards that way, yeah. But when that rate dropped because of COVID, like I said, that's when like I said, it just made it so much easier.
To explain what a pandemic agent is someone who's gotten their license going into right before 2020 or in 2020, and because the rate is so low, there's tons of business for everyone because there's 1 million buyers in the market. So yeah, you're an agent and you're doing well, you're selling. And that's fine. I'm sure some people who set up their systems and did what they're supposed to do are still selling. But there was only one type of offer you could write. So how well did you need to know how to do your job if you have all these people knocking down your door anyway?
And that's what I mean, like, because they didn't have to learn how to market a house, how to do an open house, what stands out in the offer. You know,
how to build a relationship with your client.
You know, that, or, you know, even during the inspection process, how to be able to look for certain things, what we can get around with asking for versus, you know, okay, this is a major thing, you know, in that regards here, because it was easy for a sense, you know, for lack of sense. Now, our job is not easy, but it made people think that what we did was easy. Yeah. Right. And then, I sold 2 houses this month.
Sunsets
you know, and then you got all those, you know, different shows on Netflix that make it seem like it's a breeze, and all we do is
houses.
all we do is
show up in your heels and sell the house.
Right. I was like, stop it.
And one thing that we're seeing a lot is agents getting more creative, kind of going back to the older ways. Like I said, we've been around for a long time, so buyer seminars where they can educate people. Mm-hmm. I mean, now, you know, if you want to buy a house, 2019, 2020, you better be pre-qualified. Your credit better be good. All the stuff. Now it's almost more we're seeing people trying to prepare people to buy houses because you have the time. And so we participate in a lot of the buyer seminars.
It's back where it was, I would say, like 17, 18, before things really got in the overdrive. The market is settling a little bit. Right. Because as rates went up, it shifted a lot of buyers' expectation as well as what houses are. Right. And so it made a pause on a lot of people because they were priced out at that point because, you know, when the rates are at a 2, I can afford $350,000 payment. Well, rates go to 6 and $225 is all I get. And you've been looking at $350,000 houses.
Bring that back to $250.
Yeah.
So have y'all been seeing a lot of homes that you inspected prior to the let me rephrase that. Homes almost? Yeah, like one thing I've noticed is a lot of homes coming back on the market for people who made rash decisions in 21 and 22. Are you guys re-inspecting any homes?
I haven't noticed any that we've been. I mean, we re-inspect homes often, but I don't know that I've seen an increased rate. But I expect it to. Yeah. Because I could really expected people to have made that rash decision that were either, you know, I've put an offer on 10 houses, right, and I just need a house. I just want a house to live in. You know,
get that buyer fatigue.
Yeah, exactly. And then they settled, or maybe their rent was up, or they sold their house and now they got to get to a different house. And after a year or two, it's like, well, it's time to sell this one, even though I just bought it. One thing we are seeing, or that was kind of interesting though, is probably 2017-ish. You know, I would do a home inspection, and if it was a super clean house, people, you know, they'd be like, I paid you all that money to not have anything wrong with the house. And then, you know, the last few years, it's been, I'll pay you any amount of money for there nothing to be, you know, for that to be anything wrong with the house.
And there's a lot of probably agents who are telling you, like, you know, let's just let this go. Yeah. And like I said, great agent, I don't care because I've seen it all. Yep. Mm-hmm. You know, there's very few things in real estate in my career I see now that throws me for a loop.
Yeah.
You know, and Sheridan's is probably the same way. Like, you've been through enough of these where it's not going to scare you. No matter what comes back on there, you've been through this before, so you know what pricing to fix this is, fix that.
Yeah.
And I tell a lot of my buyers, you know, specifically, I'm like, if it's a cosmetic issue, you don't like the paint, change it.
Yep.
You don't like the cabinets, you can change that over time. Countertops. But what I focus on is not to have the prettiest house on the block, but the safest.
Right.
So I'm looking for a foundation issue, electrical, plumbing, roofing, termites, radon, big things that are going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not helping you buy a house for it to be a money pit.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing as well.
And that's really what for us was trying to educate as far as like what the home inspection really is for. It's not so I can find stuff for you that's wrong so you can negotiate, or I can find nothing for you so you feel like you got a clean house. Our job as an inspector is just to educate you on your house. Like, I just want you to know everything that there is to know about your house as best I can, and then you make that choice.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so it is what it is when I show up. And like I was explaining to my clients this morning, I don't care if it's a $100,000 house. I don't even know if those exist anymore.
For investors, they do. For investors, most likely.
We can make a tent right here real quick.
Right. I don't care if it's a $100,000 house or if it's $1 million house. It's the same things, same defects. Loose toilets, double tap breakers. You know, you could still have missing shingles on $1 million house. You could have bad foundation on $1 million house. So to me, it doesn't matter what size, what style the house is. It's just same defects.
There's this guy who tells the story about carbon monoxide at KCRER for class, and it was like a house in Hallbrook, and the family just kept getting sick, and it was because their indoor pool, the pump was giving off carbon monoxide. You know, Hallbrook is $2 million up homes, and it's like you never know what you're gonna get anywhere. It doesn't matter. We've seen really clean homes in areas you wouldn't think, and then we've seen toe-up houses that cost, you know, arm and a leg. So, but that kind of segues us to the next question.